Hi everyone, it's Alex, and today I'm here to do the Your Booktube tag. It was made by Stripped Coverlit, and I was tagged by Steve Donahue. The nature of this tag is sort of to get a glimpse at me as a booktuber, and kind of like things like setup. And the first question asks, how do I decide what to review on my channel? And really, it's any book that just makes me think either about a specific part, a specific theme, or something I think would be something interesting for whoever's watching me to find out about. I don't think necessarily the things I review or what I say in my reviews are entirely groundbreaking, but I like to make sure that my reviews have a common thread or some sort of linear idea, or at least some sort of sequencing that makes my ideas have a final conclusion. Most of my reviews, I do get in depth even when I do wrap-ups, so yeah, with individual reviews, I've been liking doing them a lot more recently because there's so much I want to say, especially with the longer books I've been reading, like with Brothers Karamazov, and even in my Friday reads previously, I didn't realize how in-depth I was going with talking for 5 minutes about War and Peace. Question 2 asks, let's talk prep. Am I organized and things like that? I do take notes every time I plan on maybe reviewing something, but as far as prep goes, I really just film whenever I feel like it, and same with uploading. I don't set up like a queue or a schedule or anything. So yeah, not entirely a lot of prep. I might take a few things, jot them down, but that's pretty much it. Question 3, what inspired me to start my channel? And initially it began whenever, this was probably back in 2015 or so. Kelsey, I'm pretty sure, she showed me Ashley at Climb the Stacks and her channel, and I love her channel so much, but it wasn't until a year and a half, almost a year and a half ago, whenever I started my own channel, that right before then I found a review by Claire at Claire Reads Books about Joan Didion books, and that's what really gave me that push. Whenever I saw that there was still a lively community on BookTube, because I had been away from it a bit since 2015 whenever I watched people like Ashley at Climb the Stacks, Baz Pierce, and Jason at Jason Purcell, and people like them, and I knew that they sort of weren't active anymore. I'm so happy now being a part more actively of the BookTube community by making videos. Question 4, walk us through your filming session, and I am very DIY. I'm gonna put a picture in right here of my setup. It is not entirely pretty, but it works. I don't really do a lot with setup. I just use my phone, and yeah, then afterwards I just cut wherever seems like a good place. That way it's not me saying, or like, right now I'm probably going to cut this. Question 5, my favorite booktube style or a type of video. I was thinking about this and I don't really have a definitive answer, but I love any time where whoever I'm watching gets really specific about something. So for example, if I was watching a book review, it doesn't even necessarily have to be an encompassing summary. I would much rather watch someone that talks about maybe one specific part of that book and just their reaction to it, while also sort of getting lost in the details of why that one part caused them to be so fixated on it. But I would also definitely even say with tag videos, I like watching those because someone could find a question that's causes them to give like this really specific answer, and I really like it. I just like watching people think. You can see sort of the gears turning in their head while they're trying to answer something or talk about something, and I just really like that. Question 6, what would you like to see more on BookTube? I'm becoming a super fan of Friday Reads. I've always liked them and I like the people that do them, but for me, I'm realizing it's just a much more chillax version of me talking about books. Sometimes people will just update you on their weekend as well, and it's just so wholesome also. The most wholesome video on BookTube could be a Friday Reads, and they're just so simple and easy, like the purpose of them. Yeah. Question 7, when reading, do I take notes, and if so, how? I take notes on my phone, and then what happens is that I review that before I make my video, and then realize I can't look at my phone while also making a video. Then I spend about 15 minutes writing it down on a notebook like this, and then that's it. Although just in general, with taking notes while I read, I try to tend not to, because I feel like the experience I have should be whenever I progressively keep reading the book where I don't necessarily have to dwell on one specific part. I'd rather get the full impression whenever I finish the book completely. But I do have a little system that I do where I might underline something and I think that's important to the character, and then if I bracket something, I think that's personally significant to me as a reader. Just my own subjective way of reading something I might like. Question 8, where would I like to see my channel this time next year? And hopefully just sort of the same. I don't have any big plans to really change or switch anything up with what I do here. Booktube has always just been a space where I know I can go to and pop up a video like this one and not really have to think too much about it. But I'm realizing that with Booktube, at first, where I didn't have a lot of content even within its past, like this time last year, I feel like by now I have a really good archive of reviews or tags or wrap-ups or anything, and that's always been my goal, I think, with Booktube, is if someone happened to stumble upon my channel and then find these very similar books or types of books I was reading, and that gave them sort of the resources or information to decide where to maybe start with a certain book they wanted to read. That's always been my goal, and yeah, it's so interesting because now I see my Booktube more as an archive of information versus me trying to always think of like what I can contribute. I don't see myself that way anymore. I see it as a repository of information, and it can only really grow from now. But at the same time, where I feel like I've kind of felt like I've done all I know what I would have wanted to do on this channel, I'm slowly but surely becoming more invested in really thinking, when I think of Booktube now, I think less about what video am I going to do next, and I think instead about how is everyone doing? How are the people I'm subscribed to? I hope they're doing well, and I think basically what I'm saying is I think about you guys often now. This time last year, Booktube was always a nice thought and thinking of you all, but now I think of you actively guys as like a part of my life in a strange way. Yeah, I hope even while you're watching this, I hope you all are having a good weekend so far. Question 9, my best Booktube memory, and this isn't necessarily while I was on Booktube or within the Booktube sphere. I was at a concert with Kelsey, and that's whenever I told her about my Booktube channel. I think I was maybe like 5 months in while I had it, and I was tipsy at a Harry Styles concert, but Casey Musgraves was the opener, and while she was singing, I just leaned over to Kelsey and said, "Hey, I have a Booktube channel," and then the rest is history. And question 10, why Booktube? And whenever I think of this question, I might think of other places online where people might go for book information like Goodreads. And on one hand, I would say Booktube, because on Goodreads with the star rating system, I feel like it's so hard to sort of contain everything within that star rating, and I feel like Booktube is a space where people feel like they can go and talk about books more in detail. But for why Booktube in general, I would just say I think there's something so nuanced about talking about things you care about, or talking about things you like or maybe dislike. I think regardless of books or whatever you might use YouTube for with whatever you want to talk about, I just love the experience and the accessibility and feeling like I know people are voluntarily creating content for someone else that could be seen anywhere in the world. With Booktube, I think there's such a good kinship, and I think people realize that pretty quickly whenever they find out about this community. But yeah, I think why not Booktube, right? So those are all the questions, and I'm realizing now that I didn't write anyone to tag. There is somebody, though, I just subscribed to, and I don't know his name, but I think his channel name was something like Supposedly Good, maybe? I'm not sure, but I'll put it down below, but he's really great. He's a new booktuber, relatively new, and we read a lot of the same stuff, so if you like to, or if you like what I read, maybe you'll like what he reads as well. I'll put a few other people down below to tag, but yeah, that's everything, and as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.